tip.
Good afternoon. It is March 7th, 2018. You're listening to a Little Column A, Little Column B, hosted by Will Limnos and co-hosted by Zach Bishop. How you doing today, buddy?
What is going on, Will? Today is a fantastic day. It is snowing like crazy out here. The boss said, stay safe, stay at home. There was afternoon basketball on. Ooh, it could not have lined up any better for me.
It's got to be like the last storm, right? Like, this has got to be it. Winter has to end at some point.
Yeah, this is probably it. Although they're talking about more snow, next week. I don't really know. I don't know how the snow works, but it's working out for me today. Little March, a little appetizer for the tournament. Some tournament teams, some bubble teams, some teams that shouldn't even be in the tournament, but I got to watch them play today.
Well, who shouldn't be in the tournament? We're already making judgments. Have you made some selections and deselections?
Well, Boston College beat NC State today, but I don't think that they're gonna have to. They got a lot more work to do if they want to make the tournament.
No, not giving them the nod. Not fair.
I don't think so, but I'll get to go check them out in person, and I can give you a personal scouting report tomorrow.
We have the best sources on the podcast here. We have Zach is going to be attending back. You're going to go back-to-back weekends here, right? You're attending the tournament tomorrow and then the actual tournament next week.
Yes, sir.
So we will have the entire inside scoop of what's going on in person, live. Oh, where are you at? MSG? You're at MSG tomorrow, right? ACC?
Barclays Center.
Barclays Center, even newer, fancy new stuff. Well, we got a lot to talk about today. As he said, it is March, and that means March Madness is here, and that means another March Madness bracket challenge is coming, and we need a punishment. Last year we made a bet between Zach and I, and the loser had to run a high heel race, and that ended up being me. You can check the video out on our YouTube page, Little Column A, Little Column B. Check that out, as well as check out the website, lcalcb.wordpress.com, and Sold by Will for all the sign-up information for this year's March Madness. You will receive, if you're fortunate enough to defeat both of us, as well as everyone else that signs up, requires no entry other than a Yahoo email, and it's a $50 Amazon gift card reward, as well as the opportunity to be a guest on the podcast. So with all that in mind, if you have any...
valuable.
It worked out great last year. We had a good following. I think we got about 55 people signed up, hoping to double that this year. So spread the word. Make sure you sign up, and anybody has a chance. I'll say that. There's no expert in March Madness. It's a complete crapshoot. I mean, do you feel like you're getting better every year?
Well, this year I'm going to go perfect. I thought it was last year before, but it's definitely this year. When I kind of did a little research beforehand and looked at last year's group, I was reminded. I was in the bottom. Let's just say I was in the bottom of the league. So yeah, it's definitely a crapshoot. Has nothing to do with my college basketball knowledge or how much time I spend watching college basketball, because it's a complete crapshoot. Anybody can win money.
The winner every year is somebody who's never watched a game or has no idea what teams they're picking. They're basing them off mascot colors and favorite schools, and they're also I like my sister will make decisions based on like, well, I didn't like somebody that went there, so I won't pick them. They're just complete.
I'm trying to figure out how I can mold that strategy in with watching college basketball strategy, like some sort of hybrid. You got those guys, the coaches, the real good coaches in the NBA, who they go on gut instinct mixed with analytics. That's what I'm trying to go with. Little gut instinct with analytics, and the eye test. I'm trying to mix it all together into the perfect stew.
Well, make sure you sign up and join. It'll be a great opportunity for everyone. Make sure you share it and spread the word. Little Column A has grown a lot over the past year, so I do expect it to be a very competitive tournament with a lot of participants. So let's make sure we come through for that and keep growing the podcast. On other news, though, we don't have a punishment. I don't know. I got a couple things. I saw something that was kind of funny. I saw the Dude Perfect guys. They just broke a world record. It's a useless record. I doubt anybody has even recorded this record before. But the head bearded guy, I can't remember his name, ran a certain distance on Legos. So the punishment was he had to run on Legos, and he set the world record for the longest whatever yard dash on Legos, which looked painful. I don't know if do you remember Legos? The worst thing about it was stepping on one. The next day, morning after, awful. Just immediate pain. So I can only imagine running through a playpen of Legos being pretty painful and suffering, as well as embarrassing for people to watch. So I'm throwing that out there as one possibility. I'm open to other things. Obviously, we're going to have to agree upon it. Do you have any current ideas at the moment?
Had some things rattling around. One of them was the loser has to acquire and then wear the winning team's uh team shirt. Either I couldn't decide if you had to wear it to basketball or if you had to wear it for a whole day. That was one of my ideas.
All right. T-shirts are always fun. I think that's a fun punishment. I've been told we should make somebody play in short shorts, specifically female shorts. If unless you can find male shorts that short, I don't know. And have to play basketball with them. So you have to show up in those and participate in those at your basketball game or pickup or whatever event it ends up being. So that's another idea. It's a little too similar to
Okay.
last year, and I think it's going to be a little suspect to like these guys forcing one another to run in high heels and wear female clothing. But a bet's a bet. If we can come to an agreement on something, we will do it.
We're definitely still looking for ideas. We'll probably have to nail something down. Wait, next week when I'm out in San Diego, right? That'll be right before the tournament.
Something's gonna have to be locked. So it's funny. I asked your brother about this if he had any ideas, and he's like, "You should just come up with a bunch of ideas, and since you guys are actually going to be together in person, you should record like the next 3 years of punishments in a week. Just do them all this weekend. So we'll actually be there together in person.
All right.
I thought it
I
was.
could see that
It
if
seems
that's
like
possible.
it seems like a super Hollywood thing to do. So I was kind of fascinated by the idea, and then I was like, well, that means we have to come up with three things, as well as we're both gonna have to do. We would both have to do the punishments because we don't know who's gonna win or lose, or we'd have to select which is gonna do which. It seemed like a lot of advanced planning.
Yeah, that's one of my concerns.
Well, speaking of Hollywood, the Oscars were just this week. Did you manage to catch any glimpses, any speeches, any highlights? Did you see any of the
Listen
movies
to
nominated?
some listen to some of the podcasts talking about more the gambling side of it. I had a general knowledge of the names and a little bit of backstories on some of them, but didn't watch any of the movies, didn't watch any of the Oscars.
I didn't watch any of the actual event. I've seen some of the movies. I just saw Three Billboards and I just saw Shape of Water. They're both great movies. I'll be honest about that. They're a good take on different things. The Three Billboards, it's a fascinating storyline. It's based on a true story, and then the fictional romantic nature of Shape of Water is it's a nice romantic movie. I'll say that it's a love story. It's a fairy tale story. It's done in a modern way in the 50s in some way. I don't know how else to explain it other than it's a good movie. Without spoiling anything, it's a good movie. But another winner on Oscar night was Kobe Bryant, who we've talked about, not movie related, but sports related. We've talked about him endless times. Zach's not a big fan of the Lakers. I'm a pretty big Kobe fan of him being one of the better players of my lifetime. He actually went home for a movie short. I did not see the short. Did you by any chance get a glimpse of that?
Nope.
Well, me neither. And the only reason I'm kind of bringing this up as news is he said this is one of the biggest moments of his life. Like he's more pleased and proud of himself for winning this little movie short than he is for winning any basketball award he's ever won, which he's won them all. MVP, Finals MVP, regular season, All-Star MVP. I'm sure he's won every single one. Scoring titles. He just had two jerseys retired for number 8 and number 24. So the guy's got accolades. So when you say something like that, it kind of gets my attention. And I'm just wondering to you, is he just kind of blowing smoke out of retirement trying to get some more attention, or do you think he really values those Oscar awards a lot more than anything he's ever won in the past?
No, because it's Kobe and he's all about himself, and now he gets to get an award where there's no one else around. It's not like it's championships where there's a whole team. It's just him by himself with the award. I'm wondering how he made a documentary about basketball, but I feel like I haven't heard anybody that's actually watched it. Has it come out?
I have no idea. I don't I
How
know
how
it.
do we not know that? We're very plugged into the basketball area, not so much the Hollywood side of it.
I,
And then I just wonder, is this I yeah, he won an award, but can you name anyone else that's ever won this award? Like we only know it because Kobe won it. If whoever won it last year, if you told me his name, I probably don't know who it is. So I think we're getting a little.
So
I
it's
think
no
it's just,
no
oh
new
well,
it's no
Kobe, and we
news.
get Kobe on TV, and it's out in L.A. Oh, everyone likes Kobe out in L.A. So it's just like an easy synergy between the two.
Well, he's got just as many Oscars as Leo now.
And like,
That doesn't
what
mean
does that
anything.
matter?
That doesn't mean anything to you. All right. So if the awards don't have any
No, no,
value to
it's a
you,
joke.
the
That's
the
a joke.
the awards are a joke. I'll agree with that. The award shows
There's
are.
no one that's getting into it's different. See, this is the difference between sports and into acting. People get into sports because you're trying, like, the ultimate goal is to win a championship. It's not everyone's goal in acting. You're some People are looking to create art, and it's some people, like, even look at it as, like, when you're creating art, if you win a trophy for it, like, that makes it somehow less. So, like, oh, good, these people decided that they really liked your art. Like, it's not the same as you went and you beat a bunch of other teams, molded your will, and just got the W. I
I
think it's
do
two
think
totally different things.
I do think
I
it is
think that's
still a good
two totally
accomplishment
different
though.
categories. This is the same thing as, like, going and looking at and going and just general, just sports trolls, and going, oh, well, Brian Scalabrine has more championships than Chuck. It's like, well, yes, that is a technical truth. I can't argue with that. Yes, that's accurate, but, like, that doesn't mean that they're at a similar. That Brian Scalabrine is at a higher level than Charles Barkley.
I do think he does deserve some appreciation for it. Now, do I care if he won the award? No. If I actually end up seeing this and I enjoy it, I will tell people about it, and I think that is the best praise I can give to him at this point. But him saying this is kind of a big deal, I get it in some way because he's spent his entire life working at basketball, practicing for basketball, and he accomplished all of those goals. I don't think at any moment did he think, "Hey, I might be giving an Oscar speech in my life. Maybe, maybe I should prepare that." So I do see this kind of being a big deal for him in that sense. Do I care? No, no, not that much. I just found it fascinating that this guy who's essentially dominated and achieved all the goals has now achieved a goal that so many other people strive for every day. And you may not say that's what they're aiming for, but I bet every single one of any person in Hollywood would be very excited to be on stage accepting that award. So I think it's
I
not that big of a deal, but it's something.
I do think it's cool that he went out and tried something that no one else is doing. I mean, he easily, every network wants him to go, either be in the booth or be on TV, strictly talking basketball. And if this is what he's been looking to do, it's just awesome that he was able to take what he did as a basketball player and translate that into something in a different area, and say, hey, you know what? I have the connections. I'm gonna try this. It happened to work out for him, but even if it didn't work out, hey, you tried something. Like, right in that of itself is a success. But I don't think it needs to be just propped up even more and more. Like, oh, he won an award. Okay, cool.
Like,
Just it's not for me.
Kobe, you will never admit it, but he's a different breed. He's a certain type of character that I don't think there's many people like him in the world. The determination, the ethic, and all of that. He's accomplished a lot of stuff. So I'm just adding this to the resume of Kobe. I'm a big fan. You are not because you're all pro Celtic. You can't see the bigger picture. But we can move on.
He's got some shady past. It's not just that.
Do we want to talk about the past? Is this a decent time? Because I'm seeing news articles right now. So the whole Oscars, the whole event was over the top PC. If you ask me, I didn't see anything but some of the reviews I read, and I normally watch the monologue on YouTube the next day. Kimmel's great, but it kind of felt like he was walking on eggshells during the whole time, being like, I got to be careful about this. I got to make sure I address this. And it's all about the equality and women and all the Harvey Weinstein nonsense and all of that. And now I'm seeing articles just coming out even today talking about how can we make the Oscars a big deal about how we're kicking all these people out and we're going to live to a higher standard and behave in all of better ways and all this. And now we gave this award to Kobe, who has an alleged rape history from 15 years ago or however long, which just seems like the most irrelevant news ever. It's so far unrelated to anything he's doing now. Nobody protested when he won an MVP. Nobody protested when he put out new shoes. Nobody protested when he put out this movie short. And now that he's won and accomplished something again, everybody is just going at him for this. I feel like it's uncalled for an alleged something this long ago. But I'll ask you: do you think this
I
is
don't think
relevant
that
news?
I don't think it's ever too late to do the right thing. So just because we weren't more upset, and I think people were upset at the time, but I think we're in a different time where it's almost like the Ray Rice incident. We all heard about it and we were all like, "Ooh, well that's not good," and kind of moved on to the next thing. Like, "Oh, well, fantasy draft's on the way." Then when we saw the video, it changed things and it just made it very more in your face. And I think that's just similar. It's not exactly the same with a video, but I just think with more and more women in Hollywood and just really, really all over just coming out, it just makes it more in your face. And I think that if people are bringing it up as just a way to detract from him because he won, I could see what you're saying, but I think just in general of it's something worth mentioning that hey, here's a blemish. Here's something that happened. Through all the legalese, we're not sure exactly what happened, so it's not a for sure smoking gun.
I
But
get
I
it.
don't think
I
that it can just
understand.
be peanut buttered
I
over.
think the outrage is justified. I think it's a fair argument, just like you said. I just don't like the timing of it. Is now this is when these news articles are going to be published. This is when they're going to push these ideas. Is now after he just won this award. That seems suspect to me. And it may be completely true. I don't know behind the scenes of how everything is. I just know what I've been told, and as far as the reports go, it was alleged, and it never went to anything else other than that. The charges were dropped, and that's all the history I have. So based on that, I find it unfair. But if it turns out to be true, I'm not going to sit here and be like, I'll gladly sit up here and say I was wrong, and obviously have a different view on Kobe Bryant. But for the time being, right now, I can't find it as relevant right now until some actual evidence comes out, or just change my mind. But I don't know. I don't see that coming. This is such a case by case situation with all of this. I just didn't like that he kind of got thrown into the group.
I agree that that is also it goes. It's silly to compare with, but it's also with the NCAA allegations that are coming out. You can't just lump everybody into one big group. There's like a wide range of issues, and all of it's not good. And you gotta kind of look at it one by one, not just all grouped together.
It's probably one of the hardest things to do, especially with the way news is reported these days. Everything is so fast and so immediate and shared so easily. One miswording, one source can make an outcry to everyone. It's a different time and a different era. Uh, there's also a lot more videos now than there were back then. So who knows? Maybe if this happened years, maybe this happened in the future, there could be potentially more evidence and things like that. But we're not really a political show, so we don't need to be talking about all that. I just found it was interesting and the timing of it a little suspect. But moving on to other topics, we have other things to talk about. We got robots. We got a bunch of robotic things going on. We got self-driving cars and burger flipping machines. 2018 is shaping out to be quite an interesting year. Let's start off with Arizona trucks right now. Uber has had these already running. This has already been going on for a couple of months right now.
Yeah. Did you know about this?
No, I didn't know about this. If anything, I've probably driven past one of these and just never thought twice about it.
Well, it's down. It's over your way. The southwest. But I was surprised when I heard about it because I thought this would have been a bigger deal. I thought that there like it would have been impossible for me not to know about it. But I guess yeah, over in Arizona, this has been going on for a couple months now. Now, to walk it back a little bit, they still have a quote safety driver in the truck. So I guess it would be if something were to go wrong, he or she would take over. But for the most part, it's a self-driving truck. The way it works is the it's and these aren't so just so it's not confusing. This is the Uber doing it. These are semi. These are like 18-wheeler trucks. This is not they're driving for whatever reason trucks people to the bar. This is the big trucks you see on the highway.
But it is through
Picking it
Uber,
up
right?
from a Yep, it is
Okay.
Uber. Picking it up from a warehouse, and so this is where a traditional human person that's a
Yeah,
weird thing
the
to
the
say.
old-fashioned
I don't
way.
know. Yeah, the old-fashioned way drives it from, say, a warehouse to the a transportation hub, where then it will be unloaded and then loaded onto one of these self-driving trucks, where it will do the long portion of the drive to another transportation hub, which then a human will drive it the other way. But I just thought I would have known about this. It's still in my head of self-driving cars are like in my lifetime, but still kind of a ways away. This is right up in your face. Like, this has already happened. This has already passed. Like, why am I still driving? Why are you still driving? What's going on here?
I'm not sure. Let me ask you this: do you think the reason you haven't heard about it is because there's been problems with it, or because it wasn't as successful as they thought it was, or they're just, or somehow it flew under our radar. We just didn't come across it. Maybe we're not the target market for the the articles or whatever it ends up being. Uh, there's a couple different ways to look at this. It's exciting for one. I haven't heard of any problems, and I bet if you look it up right now, you might not come across anything. I like it. I like it. It's 2018 is shaping up to be a pretty big year. Are you more impressed with the self-driving cars or the burger flipping robot? 300 burgers it's capable of.
Yeah, so it debuted once again out your way. This was in a fast food restaurant in California called Cali Burger. I had not heard of that. Have you heard of Cali Burger?
I've heard of it. I can't say I've had it, but I have heard of it.
All right. And the burger flipping robot, it's got a name. His name is Flippy. He's got a robotic arm that is attached to the kitchen floor, and it's tasked with flipping burgers at a super speed. So it can do 300 per hour, which is really fast. That's one every 12 seconds.
All right, good for this burger. Now, does it taste as good? Is this the same? Does the human element make it better?
That was going to be my question for you, as someone that's in the restaurant business, strictly on flipping it. So this has nothing to do with the mixture of the burger, uh, the ingredients. This is just strictly just flipping it from one side to the other at a certain interval.
Now, the only thing I'll say is it won't make much of a difference if the robot is able to identify basic cooking standards, I'll say. So every grill, you can heat it up evenly. It's still going to more than likely have hot spots. Certain spots will be a little bit warmer and certain spots will be a little bit colder, and that will throw off the timing. It won't throw it off by much, but if you're doing 300 a minute, that's a lot of burgers on there. It's probably going to cool off the grill a little bit more than you expect. That would be the only thing I think it would have to factor in. Is can it recognize that, because some may need a little bit longer and some may be a little under if it's all functioning on the same strategy. But that seems like something you can program in and being like, hey, we recognize the grill. This is generally the hot spot. This is the slower spot. It can. That seems like something you could teach a robot, if you ask me. So depending on how sophisticated it is, I don't see a real problem with it. Is it reliable? Like that's the other thing. And even a standard fry cook isn't reliable. They can get sick. They can not show up for work. There's endless reasons why this can be a convenience. And does it actually lower the quality? As long as all the ingredients stay the same and it's cooked in the same fashion, I don't see a problem with it. Uh, I don't know what the cost of it is, or the cost of an employee of it. Looking more of at a business perspective, it's interesting. I don't know how I feel
It's
about getting my
it,
burger and it saying on the bag or on the menu being like cooked by a robot. Are you-
it's even it's programmed to be able to wash spatulas and to be able to scrub the grill clean.
that's awesome. Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot more than just the cooking of it. You're not just paying somebody to just flip burgers. They clean up and they attend to other things. But I certainly see this being the more challenging part of your burger restaurant is the actual burgers. There's a lot of other things to take care of, but one less
And that's
employee.
and that's what it's saying, is that the idea is that this isn't a robot that takes over everything. It's a robot that takes over one area and would work with employees.
The biggest convenience, if you ask me, I don't know what the hours for Cali Burger are, but if you're a late night place, nobody wants to be there 24 hours, but you could have the machine be there 24 hours. And then have somebody who's just conscious enough to run the register and clean up. You don't need to have the
And then
full.
all of a sudden, you're talking about running the register. I'm seeing those places they have the tablet. You go in, you even really need someone at the register.
Not necessarily. I see a convenience in that. I mean, it's essentially a vending machine, which isn't new technology. I think in Japan they have a bunch of just I'll call I don't even know what to call them. They're
Yeah,
automated
yeah, no,
food.
they're vending
They're,
machines.
they're vending machines essentially. The soups and the ramens and all of that. Um, so it's not like brand new technology. Again, I find this exciting though because this is in California. We got self driving cars in Arizona. This is right up my alley. This is right here. This is happening in my area. So I'll definitely look up Cali Burger and see if I can come across that. I will be the judge to see if it lives up to my burger standards. uh, but yeah, I don't know. Are you scared of robots? Do you have a zombie apocalypse fear or robot fear or anything like that?
Well, one, a robot apocalypse and a zombie apocalypse are two very different things.
Are you
So
scared of
get
either?
that straight. Get that straight. I am aware, and I'm just smart about it, but I'm not afraid of it.
No, that's it. That's all. That's all the viewers. That's all the listeners are getting.
I'm cautious. I'm cautious.
All right.
I have a healthy caution. I think that everyone should have.
Well, that was the most PC answer you could have given. You should have been the host at the Oscars. All right. All right. Moving on to some real monsters. Infinity War Marvel movie coming out this month, next month, coming up soon. I don't know when. We got an actual date, but I just saw that they moved it up a week, and I found that interesting. Just the way they kind of schedule movies. There's always I just like to think when you're the big guy, like you're the top dog of Marvel, you really shouldn't have to worry about your competition. Just keep your movie standards to where they are, live up to that standard, and who cares who you're going against. But they're moving it up a week, and they're now going to be a week ahead of Deadpool 2 and the Star Wars movie that will be coming off a couple weeks after that. So they're going to miss that direct competition with those guys, and they're going to be competing with I think it's The Rock and Amy Schumer's movie. Is this news or is this no news? Does this change anything for you? You think the movie isn't good enough to go against Deadpool 2 or Star Wars, or they're just trying to get a head start on everybody?
It's kind of odd. It's just to move it a week up, just because you said you set these dates way far ahead, and I think it might raise some flags if you're moving it later. If you moved it a month later because you didn't think things were ready. But I don't think that Marvel and Disney has to worry about any of the Avengers movies. Those are set. People are going to go to those. I'm assuming this has to do more with Disney owning all these other properties and wanting to best not cannibalize each other.
That
You know what I mean? Like you don't want to have too much overlap. But to that point, and I just don't know this well enough, if there's a similar association with if you have two movies going on at the same time. So say the Han Solo movie comes out one week, and then the next Avengers movie comes out the following week. It actually just gets more people to go to the movies than would uh, um, otherwise. Similar to where if you have like a McDonald's, if you have a Burger King right next to it, that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world because then it just gets people to go to that area for food that otherwise wouldn't go to that area if there was just the one.
it makes sense. I'll be curious. I'll be curious about the movie. Is this movie's been planned for so long with all the movies leading up to it of recent and the new additions of Black Panther. Was it Doctor Strange? The new Thor just came out. That kind of wrapped up a couple things. Guardians of the Galaxy, like those are all coming together for this movie. So it has been in the works for I don't know, like 5 years. How long did it take to get all of these characters together? It's taken a couple of years right now. The Ant
Oh,
Man.
more than that. Iron Man was in 2010.
Yeah, but they've done an Avengers before. This is kind of I don't know,
Oh, you mean kind of like
3.0.
the next?
Yeah, then this is kind
Oh,
of this
okay.
feels like the
Oh, I see
next
what you're
era
saying.
of Avengers. Like we've done Captain America, we've done Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, all those guys. They're still going to be in this movie, to my understanding. But we have a bunch of other new additions, which is really exciting for this. But this launch of this movie of having all those newer characters in here has been in the works probably for at least 5 years. So when you move it up a week, I don't know. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's really good news or really bad news. I don't know if they're trying to dominate everything. I fully expect the movie to be good. I just find it interesting that they decided to move it a week, and it's not even that much time. It seems interesting to me, and it might be nothing, it might be something. We'll just have to wait and see for when the movie comes out. But speaking about waiting to see, did you see the Padres camp? See some bees, little swarm.
Yes, yes, because I make a habit of whenever I'm going to go someplace, kind of do a little research beforehand. Should I be concerned about bees when I go out there next week?
I have not seen a bee out here.
Have
I
you seen extra bee activity?
I haven't seen any extra bee activity, and I have been outside of recent. I'm outside just about every day, and I have not ever seen a bee in San Diego. Am I sure there's certain
Hmm.
areas that have it? Yeah, but I haven't seen any. I do try to stay out of downtown, so I'm not really a Petco very frequently. With that
All
being said, I
right,
will say
so
one of
maybe they're
the
just down.
best perks of San Diego is there's no mosquitoes. Like late night back home in the East Coast, just swarmed with stuff. As soon as the sun set, there's bugs everywhere. No, not the case out here. So I will not say insects are something you need to worry about.
All right, I just want to make sure because this is not the first time. And last year at spring training, they also had an issue with bees.
Well, it's a baseball thing. It's not a San Diego thing.
All right, good to know. Just want to check in.
You just gotta prioritize the sunscreen. That's all we gotta do.
Definitely.
Because the sun's coming out. I don't know if the bees are coming out, but the sun's coming out, and you can't hide from that.
No, no, I cannot.
But if you do want to hide, there's a bar. I think it's in Cleveland. It's called Rock Bottom Bar, and it's a place where occasionally all the old and former Cleveland Browns fans or Cleveland Brown coaches get together and have a couple drinks. Is that sound like a bar you would want to hang at with all these former Cleveland Brown head coaches that are now fired and unemployed and probably didn't get a second gig? How did
No,
this
they all did get second gigs.
did
That's
the,
why they're all together in Cleveland because or that's why they're all together. It was in Indianapolis. It's right by Lucas Oil Stadium, so they were all in town for the combine.
there's
So this
something wrong about this. What do you think they got? Like, what was the first conversation they all had together? Do you think they talked about Cleveland at all, or they're all talking about their current situations?
I would say a mix of both. Yeah, I'm sure you've been in situations where you've been on a team where maybe that team wasn't super successful, but it doesn't mean that you didn't form a bond. You might even form a better bond. You know, a little bit of a trauma bond going on because things went so wrong.
A trauma bond. That's a
And
trick.
this is a one night. They it's labeled as a party. I don't know. Was it really a party or was it really like you call it happy hour a party where it's like, well, yeah. I mean, we went out and I had two beers. Like, does that constitute a party? So
Now,
I think it might have got blown up a little bit.
is the bar actually called Rock Bottom Bar, or is that just
It's
added
a
for?
brewery.
It's a brewery.
Nope, but that's the name of it. It's about a mile from Lucas Oil Stadium.
Because that
So I
just
think it
adds
definitely adds to it. But
to
I
the
think it was
story.
more. It was just a local. It was like right down the street. So it's like, hey, let's go to that brewery that's down the street. And then it just turned out it's called Rock Bottom. So that just adds to it, makes it awesome.
If you were a former Cleveland, say you were on the staff for anything, would you want to attend this? Would this be something you would, even if, current or former?
Yeah,
If you were
I
current
would
one,
say
would
yes.
you attend?
Currently on
If you were current
uh, I,
Browns you were on the Brown staff.
I'm only saying I'm hesitant just because I think it's being labeled as a hey, this is a Cleveland Browns thing, but it's just more of these guys worked together at the time. So if I was there currently, I might not really know these guys. Like we both, it'd be like if there was like a work get together from 10 years ago. Yeah, we both work at the company or we both worked at the company, but we never worked at the same time. So like, I don't know who you are, and you don't know who I am. So I'm not sure if that would really work.
Yeah, it's
But
weird. It's
I
weird.
usually, when I get invited to parties, I usually show up. So
It's weird. I don't know how I feel about it. I love that the bar's rock bottom though. That's a very nice fit to the story, kind of making it a little bit more interesting. But like you said, most of these guys have moved on, and they either got a job or they didn't. The Cleveland is Cleveland ever going to make the playoffs in our lifetime? Is this going to happen?
yes,
It's going to happen.
yes.
Is Johnny Benzel going to do it?
Just
Who's
with
coming back?
football, just just with football because uh, you just need some stuff to break right for you. It's different from basketball where you really need like elite top of the line talent, and it's going to stay there, and those guys are going to be the best forever. So it's not unusual for a team like at the bottom to make its way all the way up to the top. So I think it's definitely doable. As soon as you get a quarterback, really helps you out. You string some young guys together, and you can really make something happen. You get a little bit of luck. I mean, you didn't say make the Super Bowl; you just said make the playoffs, and I definitely think that that's a doable in our lifetimes. I hope I'm living for a long time, so I think it's mathematically it's got to happen.
Oh, this kind of just you remember we did this story. I want to say it was 2 years ago, maybe even longer. I don't know. Do you remember the Cleveland Browns fan that he asked the some of the current Cleveland players to attend his funeral so they could let him down one more time?
Yep, yep, I do remember that.
This kind of feels like they're planning that right now. Like this is a group of guys right now that are being like, yeah, we're all let down too. This is let's plan the eulogy together or something. Like this is what they're discussing.
Hmm. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Uh, funny story there. Another kind of funny and a little bit more uplifting story. That's kind of, I guess, all those guys don't have anything to worry about. But if you're currently a Cleveland fan, you definitely still have some stuff to do. A lot of work left. But on the brighter side, did you see this Childish Gambino Girl Scout cookie little song remix? Did you see that at all?
No, I did not.
No, it didn't come across you at all. I saw this. I
No,
thought it
I
was kind
must
of
have
cool.
missed that one.
It's a Girl Scout. She's selling Girl Scout cookies, and she made a little short music video to one of Childish Gambino's songs. She rephrased all the words so they were advertising for Girl Scout cookies, and he ended up buying all the cookies she had. So whatever award she probably won, I imagine he had enough money to comp whatever else she had left. But just kind of a cool story. It was a cute girl. The dad, they made this little remix. They're in the car in the back seat here. And I thought it was pretty creative. I wouldn't say the vocal talent was quite there, but the lyrics made sense. The lyrics were very creative.
Hmm.
It was all in the same like kind of tone and melody of the original song, just with different words. So shout out to
Oh, that's
them.
cool.
I thought it was pretty cool. Another actual San Diego story related to Girl Scouts. A couple Girl Scouts have actually gotten in trouble out here. They had the bright idea of hanging out the now legal marijuana stores and selling them there, which, if you ask me, that's just straight genius. I don't, and they got in some trouble because I guess there's an age restriction and all that, and they're not allowed to be like within a certain area or whatever. And I don't know. I thought it was a good idea. Do you think it's a good idea? Is that fair?
I don't know I don't know why you'd get in trouble for that. It's not like they're inside. It just seems I, it, very similar. I guess not very similar, but a similar thing is when I go to the grocery store, especially on the weekends. Majority of the time, there is some group outside on both sides, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, the baseball team, something asking for money. In the grocery store, you're getting food. There's alcohol in there. It doesn't mean that there's unsavory activity, and this drug that used to be illegal has now been legalized. So the law has said, hey, we're fine with this happening. We're fine with this being in certain areas, and I don't see why you wouldn't be able to sell Girl Scout cookies outside there.
I didn't really see the problem with it. Everything's just so new out here. It feels like even though it's legalized, they're still going to take some time of adjusting to what this world is going to be like with this legal. And this seems like just one of those small steps of getting closer to figuring out what normal is really going to be with this. But good for the Girl Scouts. Shout out to all of them. They are very expensive for these cookies, but Have you ever been disappointed by a Girl Scout cookie? Do you have a personal favorite?
I like the tagalongs, and I don't like the samosas.
You don't like the Samoas are definitely the best ones though, but the
Did
coconut,
I, yeah, did I pronounce that incorrectly?
I
I
think
don't
it's
like them,
Samoas.
so
I think it's Samoas. I'm not
Samoa.
sure.
Which ones? The ones I'm thinking of, the ones that I like
The peanut butter
are the
ones.
ones with chocolate and peanut butter.
Yep,
And
tagalong.
oh, always love Thin Mints, but Thin Mints are dangerous. You just eat a whole box, you're not even paying attention.
You
I
well,
don't like the ones with coconuts because I just don't like coconut. So
see, I like the coconut and the caramel, so that works well for me. The Samoas are probably my favorite. There's tagalongs, thin mints, Samoas. I can't think of the other ones. I don't buy these.
you know what? Unpopular thing to probably admit, I haven't had a Girl Scout cookie in a long time. I can't think of the last time I had one.
No, they don't get
No,
you.
'cause,
Is there something wrong with the business model of this? Essentially, of little girls guilting everybody else into buying them.
well, like I said, there's usually people out, the group, whatever, sometimes they're selling stuff, sometimes they're looking for donations, and usually I just drop $1 as I walk in, or as I'm walking out, because usually whatever they're selling, I'm not really interested in, and I just trying to stay healthy. If there's a whole box of cookies at the house, I will eat it. I'll probably eat it that day. But if they don't buy the box and it's not there, I won't eat the whole box. So it's an easy just avoid it. Just avoid the Girl Scouts, avoid the Boy Scouts, avoid the cookies.
Very fair understanding. It is. You can't have just one, and it's not a very large box. You're definitely right about that. Um, I don't know if I necessarily get the craving for the Girl Scout cookies, but if they're around and if somebody gets them, yeah, I'm gonna have a couple. That's not gonna be a
Yeah.
problem. Well, with that being said, I just want to remind everybody to make sure you sign up for the March Madness thing, March Madness tournament. We're going to be giving away a Amazon gift card for $50. Make sure you share that. Check out the website lcalcb.wordpress.com for all the previous podcasts. Go check out the YouTube page. See myself running high heels. Just Google or YouTube Little of Column A, Little of Column B, as well as check out Zach at what is it,
Z-Man 24.
Wicked Z-Man 24. Let him know what you want this year's punishment to be, and if you have any good ideas of what you want to see us suffer through, please don't make it too bad. I don't know if I can handle anything like that. I don't want to go back to college. Nothing like that. Speaking of going back to college, I saw Steve Kerr made a pretty interesting statement saying if NBA players somehow go undrafted after declaring for the draft, they're kind of in limbo after that, of fighting for a developmental league spot or going overseas. He says, why not just let the kids go back? Why don't I let them go back to school? I don't really have a problem with it, but part of me thinks you got to kind of take responsibility for a bad decision at some point. Like, this shouldn't be a risk-free declaration. Am I right about that?
No, you're absolutely wrong.
I'm wrong? Why am I wrong?
You're absolutely wrong. If you were in college and after your sophomore year, some guy said, "Hey, you know what? I really like what you're doing. I don't really need you to graduate, but I could use you right away. Do you mind coming to my company? I'm gonna pay you lots of money." You'd go, "That is awesome. I will see you guys later." That's the whole point of college, is to get a really good paying job. Well, let's say you go do that job, and after a month, 2 months, either you don't like it, you find out that job, like, you're in way over your head. Why would you not be able to go right back to college? So how is that any different for an athlete?
It's not, but I think it's a smaller. It's such a small like so few guys actually have the chance to go to the NBA that I don't think this rule would really make or break that many people. The borderline people know who they are, and they should just graduate. If you're a borderline guy, you should just stay in school. Why take the chance of
But
going on?
you have the option to make a bunch of money. Why would you be punished for looking into that?
I agree. I agree with you. It's really not that big of a deal. You have to get these kids have to become adults at some point, and they're going to learn one thing, that there's consequences for the decisions you make, and this just feels like
Oh,
one of them.
consequences. So you're who where's the advantage? Who's the who's the winner in this situation? Because the players are the losers.
Look, I'll tell you. No. The advantage is if my Boston Celtics won't have to draft scrubs because we thought this stuff, right? I only want people in the pool that are truly eligible. I don't want the maybes. The maybes got to go. Because the thing is, if you're hesitant on your talent, you're not going to make it. I can't imagine somebody really developing that much.
None of these guys are hesitant on their talent. It's probably the opposite. They're overconfident in their talent, and everyone's telling them they're the best and that they've been the best, and then they go into the draft and then they get the harsh reality that, ooh. And I think that it would be, rather than having these guys that don't get drafted and they end up in Europe somewhere, have them be able to go right back to school and have college basketball be better. That's better for everyone. Everyone's watching college basketball here. I have not seen any European games.
Not yet. Not yet. College basketball is dying. It's gonna all blow up. This is gonna be the final nail in the coffin. It's the coffin I'm starting to see. It's getting closer.
Ooh,
All
I
this
don't
drama.
know. I don't know. Did you see Sean Miller? See him in his press conference? He
Actually,
came
we
hard back at ESPN,
actually not now.
real hard.
Now that you mentioned that, the last podcast, I believe this had just happened. It might have been the day of or just of, so we didn't really get a chance to talk too much about the Sean Miller stance. I just find it super interesting that the school is standing by him. And if I'm the school, it is so much easier to just point the finger. Why, like, this could all just go away. We just put all the blame on the one guy that everybody is reporting is in trouble, and this goes away by standing
No,
behind
hold
him.
on. That's something that I want to mention. It's Yahoo started to mention some stuff, and then ESPN's the one that came in hard with this. And then I was reminded, oh, you know what? Every once in a while, ESPN comes out really hard at a certain team, a certain someone, and they might not have all the facts right, and they might miss some stuff that gets retracted way later at 1 in the morning, and no one notices. But yeah, so I'm not so sure if I want to just jump on the ESPN's always right and Sean Miller definitely is a cheater bandwagon.
I 100% agree with you at this point. I look, you can make that you can make that statement out of desperation, but if you're truly guilty, it does nothing other than stall. Like the truth will come at some point. So I don't really see much of an advantage to denying it right now. So my only belief is it can't be true then if he's that passionate about it to make a statement and have the support of the school behind him. So it's really probably it might truly become nothing, or it may become a over exaggerated leak from whatever the FBI thinks they have. But the FBI is a big deal.
Do
Like
you want to hear my
is,
do you want to hear my funny conspiracy theory that I heard on I don't remember, it's Twitter or a podcast or something.
yes, the listeners would love to hear someone else talk.
All right, perfect. So this is what possibly happened. So Sean Miller, he's got a brother, Archie Miller, also a college basketball coach. He coaches at Dayton. So are we not sure that this FBI guy is listening? He hears something something Miller, NCAA head coach. He immediately Googles it. Obviously, Sean Miller at Arizona is the more main one. That comes up. He's listening and he's hearing Dayton, Dayton. Oh, it's got to be Dayton. It's Dayton at Arizona, and it just all got mixed up on him.
That
That's
just
that's a fun conspiracy theory.
I mean if that's the source, I no, that's not good enough for me. You can't report this based off that. There's got to be some
No.
follow
This
up.
is what I'm saying. No, this is what I'm saying. That's the fun. That's the fun. I'm joking around. We're not being serious because no one's really getting hurt in this thing.
Well, we'll
This
see.
isn't what I actually think happened. It's just a funny thing.
It is.
It's a
It is.
joke, Will. It's a joke, buddy.
It was a bad joke. All right, go sit down. Don't do stand up.
Oh, here we go. Let's go back to saying how college athletes got to learn their lesson.
Oh, it's the whole situation is such a mess right now between the amount of money these institutions are making is just so ridiculous that there's no good way to do it. You just need to get rid of it and have it be regulated by somebody else entirely. Let the NBA
Did you
developmental
see?
league really become what college basketball needs and should be. Let there be compensation. Let there be development. Let these kids not go to school if they don't want to. Let them focus on this career if that's really what they want to do. It's their decision. Let them make it.
Question: are you saying this because Syracuse has been bad at basketball the past few years?
No,
You're just
I'm
trying to
saying
hide it.
this. I'm saying this out of frustration. All right, I my I have a love-hate relationship with all college sports because one, it's super exciting, and I think that's the fun entertainment part of it. In professional sports, the regular season cannot be as exciting. Not every game is as must-win. There may or may not be as much hustle in comparison to some of the college sports. So I see some of the heart and some of the this is the underdog kind of part of me. I see that in college and I see the excitement in it. But the other side of me is I see such an amateurism in all of it, and it just needs a little bit of tweaking, like a little bit of cleaning up, and that can truly be all answered by a better developmental league. Let these guys work with coaches all year. Let's not worry about all the garbage classes that they're quote unquote taking and not taking. I mean, look at some of the courses these guys are taking. They've created all these courses for these athletes that are unrelated to anything that will not benefit them in the real world at all. If you were a college athlete and say you graduated and you wanted to actually go forward with some of your majors, some of these guys they wouldn't have learned anything. There's not any gain there. It would have been 4 years wasted of just being on the team. So for me, there's too much overlap of time wasted and covering up that can all be fixed by another institution. The developmental league for the NBA, the G League, can answer all those problems as well as provide the same stage. We can still pay money to go see these games. We can maybe get them televised the same way. We can have actual scouts there. We can have actual coaches there. The second one of these big name college coaches signs with the G League and is one of their head coaches, that's going to be when this ball starts rolling. And college sports suddenly fades to this amateuristic high school second level. It's all it's going to be. It's a lot to say, and it's a lot of time is going to have to pass for this eventually to happen. I just see it going in that direction. The drama and the corporate nonsense with all these college sports is going to have to give at some point. And it just feels like we're getting closer and closer to that every year. That's what's going to happen.
NCAA is definitely gotta figure it out, or exactly what you said is gonna happen. So that's why I hope they figure it out. And there is a bunch of corruption, but
And that's not everyone.
it's
Let's
fun.
let's be clear. Let's be
Fun
clear.
with the schools,
We
and
we opened up
it's
with the
I
Oscar
would hate.
thing, not grouping everybody together. You said that earlier, right? We don't want to do that. Let's
Yeah,
be clear on that.
yeah.
Anyway,
There's stuff that definitely needs to be changed, but it would be unfortunate because I feel like there's it's not the same level, obviously, talent wise, but there's definitely a large group of people that are either just NBA fans or just college fans. And I think if it just became college turned into there was no college and it was just the G League, now it turns more into baseball where it's it's one and not even it's A and B rather than kind of like a 1A and 1B as it is right now.
I love the excitement of college sports, but if you're truly just following it for the excitement and not for the actual sport, that's the problem right there. Is that college sports manage to attract a crowd that may or may not really care about it. Their support for the game and for the sport is not because of an athlete or because of a coach. It's for the school. It's their affiliation with the school. It's because they went there, their family went there, their friend went there, or whoever. They know somebody on the team. It's out of support for that. It's not really out of support for the actual sport itself. If that makes any sense at all, did you kind of get what I'm going at? Is
And what's wrong with that?
there's not anything wrong with that. There's not anything wrong with that. That is the reason they're able to make the money they make. I just don't I just don't like that they're making the money off of people that way. That just seems incorrect. And as well as the distribution of the money is so dysfunctional and so corrupt. And the more we uncover, the less attractive it all becomes for me. And that should be known. And I feel like there's a lot more people out there than you think that are kind of going to be affected by that once the truth or all this kind of drama uncovers. 'Cause there's a lot of money. There's a lot of money there. There's
Did
so
you
much
hear?
money
Did you hear the number that just came out
for.
last year? NCAA 1.1 billion dollars in revenue. I
Yeah,
think that was just for the tournament,
just the
and
tournament.
that was just the NCAA, not even what coaches and conferences and everything like that is making. That's just the NCAA.
And that doesn't concern you at all? Like where's this all
No, that's
going?
that's what I'm saying is that it has to get its act together because right now the system doesn't quite work. But it doesn't mean that the system has to go away. It just has to be fixed.
I find it all right. So you're right. You're right. All right. If you can come up with a way to fix this and a way to make sense from all of this, I'm all in. I'm all in for it. I just don't see that way of ever coming upon us or everyone actually agreeing to it and following it and them being to
There's so
actually
much money,
regulate
they'll
it.
figure a way out.
There should be
If
a way. There should be a way. It'll be sad if that is the
if
truth
the
of college football or in college basketball and all these college sports eventually dying out and becoming less and less popular for developmental league things. It's it's not good for college. But man, I'm getting kind of tired of the drama. So you can't blame me for wanting some less drama and watching the same players in a much more organized organization.
if the NBA really starts to kind of make moves towards that, I think the NCAA will get there. They'll get their act together. They'll have to do something. It's too much money to just give it up to the NBA. There'll be some sort of power struggle.
I'll kind of close this out with kind of one last statement, and this is why college basketball should be a little feared of this possibility, and what I think is all likelihood going to end up happening anyways. Adam Silver is he's the guy. He's not Stern. He's looking to push for this. He's looking to grow. He's making decisions and taking chances left and right. And I think this is a very calculated risk, if you ask me. He's not just going to sit around and watch all that money and all this controversy just flow right in front of him without finding out a way of how he can get a hold of it and how he can make this better. Because there's clearly a market there and somebody can utilize and take advantage of all this controversy. And he doesn't feel like a commissioner to me who's going to sit around and do nothing. He's going to push for this, and I think he's really going to make this happen. It's not just David Stern who's doing everything he can, who did a phenomenal job. I'm not trying to trash David Stern here. But Silver feels like the proactive guy who's going to stick his nose into situations like this and try and make his league better. And this makes his league better. So I think they should be fearful of what he's willing to do. Because he's gotten a lot of stuff done in the couple of years he's been a commissioner. And I think a lot of sports organizations have applauded Silver in what he has done so far. I mean, look at this year of making the NBA All-Star Weekend. The All-Star Game was way better. He fixed it. He did it. He did it in 1 year. He identified a problem. He came up with a solution, and it's probably going to be even better for the following years. They do the draft in person. They do the draft on live television. I like the direction of this. He's making things happen. So I think college sports should be concerned of not David Stern, of Adam Silver making this happen.
Yeah, no, they gotta get their act together.
They got to get their act together. Well, hopefully we'll be getting our act together. Hopefully you're getting your act together on this March Madness picks. A lot of perfection being preached right now. We just got a couple minutes left on the podcast here, so just remind everybody to sign up for all that. Check out Zach's Twitter at WickedZman24. Tune into the podcast, download it, share it, do whatever you got to do. We're on all the affiliated iTunes apps. Anything else, Dad?
I am excited for just to overload on college basketball. Despite the whole big conversation we just had, I'm excited for that. Go to San Diego. It's gonna be a fun couple of weeks.
Well, I mean, that doesn't mean all of this conversation can't mean that you shouldn't enjoy it while it's here. If anything, you may want to enjoy it because I personally think it's not going to be there forever. So, definitely enjoy the ACC tournament in person tomorrow, and I'm gonna be just like everyone else. I'm gonna try and watch as much college basketball as I can the rest of the month.
Agreed.
You know, and until some of these developmental leagues start being on TV and they have, like I said, some positive coaching and some nameable guys, it's still got a long way to go. I just view it as going in that direction. That being said, download everything, do everything. I don't know how many more times I got to say all this. What do you want to say something?
Share it with all your friends. That's what I got to say.
Share with all your friends. Share with all your girlfriends, too. Make sure they listen. It's very important that your girlfriend knows where you are for an hour when you don't answer the phone.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, listen to the podcast.
Yeah, you know, for whatever reason, that's not. You might not know this, but that's not a very good excuse. I'll leave the listeners with that. We'll be back next week. Thank you as always for listening.